Hey guys, Mishka here. So, great suggestion for video. What are the good affixes for each class? So, affixes on your armor, affixes on weapons for each of the 8 classes. So, let's go over that. I just want to point out this is not necessarily what the meta is. This is what Mishka uses. So, let's just be very clear about that up front. I'm not saying this is the absolute best end game. You want to min-max all the way to max DPS. I'm going to show you what I use, and I'll tell you why I use it. So I'm just going to go in order here. We're going to start with Bard because Bard is the best class in the game, period. For the weapon, I use Unbending and literally anything else. Why? Because I'm the healer. If I die, everybody dies. So number one priority here is to get Unbending. Anything else is just icing on the cake. Regarding armor affixes, we'll start over here. Projectile damage crit chance. That's what I've got on most of my gear. Now, why do I have that? Well, your crescendos count as projectiles. So your healing crescendos and your damage crescendos. But I focus on the healing because I'm a healer. That means that for projectile damage, projectile damage, projectile damage, if I had projectile damage over here, that would be 4% extra healing on all my crescendos. That's pretty awesome. What else do I have? Crit chance. Because crit means 50% more heals. Now, as bards, we don't have the same amount of healing as a musketeer, so any extra bit helps. So, crit chance. You can get, 4% extra crit chance. That's 4% extra chance for you to, do 50% more heals. Over here, I've got crit chance, crit damage, because I'm still playing around, trying to test things for extra heals. So, if you're like me, and you run, support bard, more damage-focused than heal-focused, every little extra bit helps. So getting another 8% heals on top of your crits is pretty awesome. So that's Bard. We're going to go to Warrior now. For Warrior, I think it's a mix between 3 of them. So the most important one, in my opinion, is minus 1% incoming crit damage. If you get crit by a boss, that sucks. So any amount of mitigation will help. So I've got that here. I've got that there. I've got that there. I've got that there. The other 2 I use are XP gain and supercharge rate. I like to use the super as a warrior. It's like part of my rotation. So being able to get that up faster is nice. And then over here I've got XP gain just because I didn't want to roll anymore. And it's really not that... It's not super necessary because you can get your super up so fast. So extra XP is nice. For the weapon, again, Unbending, because I'm the tank. If I die, the party dies. So Unbending. Anything else on top of that, icing on the cake. Shaman. Shaman, I've got Bleed and Charge Strikes. Ice Heart can also work if you play a lot with mages that you frost, or if you have a frost totem. But those are the 2 I stick with. Charge Strikes because extra crits means lightning hits even more. Bleed, because as DPS, bleed is just awesome. So, armor, it's all the same. Crit damage, crit chance. Crit damage, crit chance. Crit damage, crit chance. Crit damage, crit chance. Why? Because lightning will, every time you crit, you get another one. If you have strikes twice, which you should. I don't, because I was, again, experimenting with other builds. But if you have strikes twice, crit damage, crit chance. Projectile damage can also be considered because your orbs are projectiles, and that's another, 4% damage off the bat. So that's something to consider. For Musketeer, supercharge rate, crit chance, supercharge rate, crit chance, incoming crit damage, crit chance. I should probably re-roll that. Supercharge rate, crit chance. Crit, because again, if you crit, that's 50% extra heals. That's awesome. That'll keep your party alive. I'm going to be honest, as a Musketeer, it really doesn't matter. You have so much healing potential that, this kind of stuff doesn't really matter. So why do I have supercharge rate? Again, the super is awesome. If you're in a clutch situation, it'll help. For the weapon, guess what? Unbending, because if I die, everybody dies. Lightning Forged, there's one boss in the game where if you have Lightning Forged, like, you're not supposed to heal. I'm okay with that, with not healing that boss, because I like to play DPS on that one anyway, but that's beside the point. Unbending. Anything else? Icing on the cake. Paladin. All right, guess what? Unbending, because if I die, everybody dies. Anything else? Icing on the cake. You guessed it. For armor, yeah, XP gain, XP gain, XP gain, XP gain. That says dot damage. You don't have any dots, so that's a completely worthless affix. Supercharge rate, incoming crit, incoming crit. Again, incoming crit will, mitigate that damage. The super is pretty awesome, so any mix between those three, I'm okay with. Dot damage, I should probably reroll it. I just don't bother because I don't play Paladin very much in high-level shards. Scoundrel. God, that is a beautiful Scoundrel outfit. All right, so I've got Bleed Unbending. I'm still playing around with Scoundrel. I'm not entirely comfortable with it, so I do keep Unbending on there. Bleed, because Bleed is, that's the affix to go with. If you're comfortable with Scoundrel and you're comfortable with all the mechanics, you can go Ice Heart, Giant Killer, one of those two. For all of the armor, it is projectile damage, crit damage. Projectile damage, crit damage. Projectile damage, crit damage. Projectile damage, crit damage. Now, why do we do that? I thought Scoundrels were super critical, so you want to get crit chance. No, you don't need crit chance. As a Scoundrel, you're going to be critting like 90% of the time. I pulled that number out of my butt. I don't know what the actual number is. But you're going to have a really, really high chance to crit. You don't need any more chance to crit, especially if you got, crit rings over here. More critical strike, more critical strike. Yeah, you are set for crits. Don't worry about bumping up that chance. Instead, you want to focus on making sure those crits do more damage. So that's another 8% damage every time I crit, which, again, is the majority of the time. And guess what? All your bullets are projectiles. So it's another 4%. So we're just stacking everything on top of each other for Scoundrel. Woohoo! Damage at the wahoo. Ranger. For the weapon, Ice Heart Bleed, because whenever I play Ranger, I'm usually in a group with mages. And they put Ice, Frost, Heart. Yeah. If I'm not and I have a warrior, I'm like, hey, do a hamstring. Because hamstring works. Yeah, Ice Heart Bleed because extra damage. All of my armor I have crit chance projectile damage. Why crit chance projectile damage? Well, all of your arrows are projectiles. That's another 4% damage. And crit chance because, 4% extra chance to crit, do 50% extra damage, especially if you get that on a weak point with a piercing arrow that you charged. Oh my goodness, the damage you can do. I've seen crits for over 800k. It's crazy, so that's why I use that. Last but not least, Ronmage. Ronmage, I've got Ice Heart Bleed because I do put Frost. I'm a rotation mage. And then everything is projectile crit chance. Because, again, all your spells are projectiles. That's 4% extra damage. Crit chance means 50% extra damage. And with the amount of spells that you can blast out as a quick rune mage, you're going to be getting lots of crits. So that's what I use. As far as the rings go, most of the time I'm using scavenged rings with Elite Hunter and Empowered. I'm trying to think. The ones that I don't do that on, I use Ranger with Chaotic Signet. But, again, it's Empowered and Elite Hunter. I don't think I use the Chaotic Signets on anything else. Oh, I do for Musketeer. The reason I use Chaotic Signets is because it gives 150 extra Wisdom, which is 10% faster ult charge. So anything that you want to get your ult up faster with, so I should probably switch on my Warrior and Paladin to get the ults up faster. But again, that's just personal preference. So everything I've said here, again, personal preference, not necessarily the meta. So just take that with a grain of salt, ask other in-game players what they do, and just kind of get a general feel. Again, play the game however you feel like it. Just have fun with it. But that is what Mishka does. It was a great comment asking for this video, so thank you for that. If you have any other questions, comments, concerns, video ideas, feel free to leave a comment or a message. I'm everywhere: Reddit, Facebook, Discord, YouTube, obviously. So, yep. Till next time, happy hunting.